Hello gamers, it's SoftKitty99 and today we're in Parkitect. In the last episode we did Pagoda Valley and Kaiserberg, so our next one is Sakura Gardens. Attract more visitors to this peaceful garden by adding amusement rides and shops, while retaining its old charm, so we need it to still be a garden. Be careful of building thrilling rides, however, as the guests visiting the garden prefer gentle, calmer rides. Scenario: have a cleanliness rating of at least 80%, have at least 500 guests in your park. Optional: have a cleanliness rating of at least 70, which will give you some money, which will help you get to this required goal of 80% here, and complete all non-optional goals by the end of October Year 3. So let's take a look at the park that I built for this one. Now I've noticed that sometimes it loses the build that you've done previously, so I've taken to making sure that I do a backup save of my own rather than just relying on the auto save, because I ended up having to do this park 3 different times before I actually had a saved one to be able to show you. So I found that this one isn't that hard to accomplish. It's a little bit time consuming though, and although the scenario information suggests be careful of building thrilling rides as the guests prefer gentle, calmer rides, if you do only build gentle, calm rides like the wave swinger and the carousel and some water rides and things, you then end up with a lot of vandals in the park complaining that there aren't enough thrilling rides for them. So don't fall into the trap of only trying to build calm rides. Make sure that you do smatter in some thrilling stuff as well, otherwise you'll have a vandal problem. Also, it's a very big park, and when it first starts, it starts with this a little sort of garden area right at the beginning, and this big long path is the one that initially was with the game all the way through. So these big long paths are not things that I've added. This was already here for the park, and if you leave the whole thing open you end up with a lot of litter and a lot of problems for your staff keeping it on the problems. So what I've done is I've used some little signs and I've cut it off here and here at the moment, so this whole loop round the back here is cut off, which I've found makes it much easier to finish the scenario. And of course you can start with these signs cutting things off closer in at the beginning, so I started with them near this bridge and over here, and then built a few things over here, and then as you expand keep moving the barriers back, and that way you don't have as many problems and things work out a lot better. I had a little bit more space here for building another ride, but I didn't need to because I finished it. So those are my top tips. Also, you can take a couple of loans out and you don't have to repay them in order to get the park done. So if you take out the loans quite early, you can build a lot faster, so it makes the time to finish the scenario a lot quicker. So with all that said, let's take a closer look at the park that I've got. So here's my quick overview. This is the entranceway. The guests come in here, and you've got your receiving depot and everything here. And then you've got this big long staff path going all the way over to here. When you first start the scenario, there's no shopping here. There's a couple of shops up here, one of them being soft drinks, which you don't get given to you in your provided shops. And I've done a few shop research and I still haven't got the soft drinks, so don't delete that soft drink shop or you're going to have a problem with drinks in your park. So make sure you keep that, which of course means you have to keep this long path for the staff. Now you could choose to build staff rooms and everything here, but what I did is I left it with them walking down the path initially, and later on when I got a bit more money I added a depot and a trash chute to help the staff not have to walk so far. But the only staff room I've got and training room are in this big building and food court that I've built at the entrance, so just bear that in mind. And you can actually build on this section of the park without getting a bad decoration rating from this long staff path, but you don't want to build in this section over this side of the river because that's a problem, but this side is absolutely fine. So that's an awful lot of info for me to give you, but let's take a closer look at my park and let's start at the entrance way. So the people come into Sakura Gardens through here. I've only got a really low entrance fee because people kept complaining about entrance fees, so keep the entrance fee fairly small. And then right inside, it does come with this little pagoda thing. I've added the cash machine and the information kiosk into here, and I've also added a load of seating just to make sure it's a nice area. And I've made this into, like I said, I've made this into a food court area. So I first added a wave swinger right here, so that the queue to that is the first thing right inside the entrance. And this beautiful little seating area. We've got a little toilet block here. I've extended the square out. I made it a two-tone thing for a little bit of contrast and make it a little bit different looking. And over this side, utilising the style of the buildings that we had in the little shop block that we started with. It was only too wide when it started, so I've extended this one, but I've used this sort of semi-Japanesey, gardeny, open air style of build. It could be, I think the crosses make it feel more Japanese to me, but if you look at the walls with the white, it could be like a Watland or medieval English style build as well. So it's kind of a combination of the two, and with the brown tones it's very gardeny. So if I drop the scenery here for you, so your goods receiving is here. I've added a staff room and a staff training room into this big building, that's why it's so big. And you start the scenario with an umbrella stand and a souvenir stand, but I researched in order to get the burgers and the bubble tea, which is why I say be careful not to take out the soft drinks, because I still haven't managed to research that in the scenario before I finish. So keep that in, and that will give you a little bit of a head start. You also start with a vending machine, so do make sure to pop that in to keep your people happy, your guests happy right at the beginning, and get researching some shops I'd recommend right at the very beginning. And then here, as I said, I've added these machines here, and I've added a toilet block right here. So let's put this scenery back up. I've added quite a few flowers around, keep that garden theme, lots of greenery. I've not added as many bushes and shrubs to make it pretty as I have done in one of the scenarios that I managed to lose. So you find you don't necessarily need to make it the most pretty, but you can add more if you feel like it. But just getting some rides in and some nice shops in, and making sure that your staff are on top of the problems is your main concern with this one, because you need that cleanliness rating of 80%. And as you can see, I've got somebody going around breaking things again, so that is the big concern with this one. Keep on top of your staff, get a few thrilling rides in, and that's how to get this scenario finished. So at the entrance, we've got the beautiful plaza, we've got a wave swinger, and as you can see, I've toned everything to a sort of greenish palette for the rides and things as well. Then we've got the traditional carousel and the Ferris wheel. So we've got the scenario starts with these three rides, so that's got your calm rides that the scenario recommends covered before you begin. So if you do those three rides and then research a few shops and then get a few thrilling rides, because the scenario doesn't come with any thrilling rides research, so you need to get that done to stop the vandals coming in. And then the next thing that I've got here, I've got in a calm river ride. Now I did build this myself. It's not anything special or fancy. In fact, it's the very last ride I put in before the scenario finished. But if you take a look at it, it just kind of skirts around my lake. So it interacts with the bridge over here and the bridge over here and the path just next to it. And then it goes around this pretty little island that the scenario came with. I've got it interacting with my log flume, and then just skirting around the edge of the lake here, and then just going back in. So let me pop up. It's just kind of a circuit. It's got a few wobbles and wibbles. It's just to show you the scenery of the gardens, basically. And right next to that, I've added a log flume. So they're fairly calm, but it's a little bit more thrilling than the other rides, just to have that little element of range of different rides. And then opposite these two builds, I've got a couple of little coasters in. So with this one here, I've used the mini loop state. So if we take a look at the coasters here for you, so this is one of the junior coasters, I believe. So if we look in here, I believe it's one of these. Oh, maybe not. Which one is it then? definitely one of the coasters. I only researched one coaster, I think, in this one. I think it starts with the Junior and the Mini, and I researched and I got the powered coaster. I think that's how it works. So maybe it's the Mini coaster then. It's definitely one of the prefabs. Is it this one? There you go, it's that one. It's the Mini Loop State. So it's the mini coaster here that I've used here. Just dropped in to get something a little bit better than completely calm. Oh look, we can quickly see the lighting on the beginning of the scenario. I kind of like that actually. I think it's quite good. So, and then over here we've got the second one of our coasters, so that must be the Junior coaster then there that we've got here, and I think it might be the bamboo boa. Let's rotate that. Yeah, so that's the bamboo boa layout there that I've added in here, just so you know. As you can see, I've used these wooden pavilions in keeping with the garden motif, and I've used the pattern on the edges for the bigger, most of the bigger ones. The last couple of ones I've put in here, I've just used the normal trellis. I just kind of like that in a garden. It adds a little bit of shade, but it doesn't really get in the way. And then this is where I've cut it off. So you've got all this area over here. You could keep going for quite a long time. It's quite a nice map if you want to play around with building your own scenario later. So if we go the opposite direction, so let's go back to the Ferris wheel. And this time, if you go across the bridge and interact with your little calm river ride, we come to a wipeout. So we've got something a little bit more thrilling. Next to it we've got the raindrop. That's one of the little coasters again. The little powered coaster over there. So if we go raindrop, powered coaster. So we're looking for raindrop. There you go, there's the raindrop, and we've built it without the scenery on it. So that's what it looks like without the scenery. So we've got 3 little coasters in there to give it a little bit of oomph for the people who wanted something a little bit more intense, but they're not that intense, so it kind of fits with the calm again. And I've got the cornered, using those little fan corners on the trellis again here. Extended the food court out, so we got a few more shops in, and put in the depot at the back to save the staff having to walk all the way backwards and forwards unless they need to use the staff room. So if I pop the scenery down and zoom in, not out kitty, in, zoom in a little bit, hide the scenery, and I can show you which shops. So we've got the soft drinks, and this is the only way I can get it. Let's get somebody to clean that. Soft drinks, this is the only way you can get it, is if you keep the one that the scenario starts with. And then in the second spot it had a toilet, so I've moved the toilet across, made this oh, actually I've made that staff access, but it's the staff actually can't get. I think we've got a little problem with a door over here. Let's take a look at that. I missed that. We've got the vending machine and the umbrellas. As you can see, I extended that earlier before we'd done all of the research on the other shops. So yeah, so look, we've got the my staff are trapped and I didn't realise. Right, we need to remove this wall here if I can. Oh, I don't want to remove that. I want to remove the wall. Can we remove that wall, please? Right, now my staff shouldn't be trapped anymore. Yes, we've saved my staff. We've rescued them. Sorry, staff, I thought you were free to come and go. That is a shame, isn't it? And then right next to this, we've got the jumper. So people can take a look at things while they're here. Next to the little seating area and the mini shopping mall at the side over here, where you can just get some drinks and little snacks. Where if you want proper food, you need to go back to the big shopping area at the beginning of the area. Hello, you look like you. Oh no, he's just got his ball cap on backwards. I was worried that guy was a vandal there then. So there's our wipeout. As you can see, it's quite popular, and yes, we did hear, so there is a vandal around here, and one of my security people has just caught it. I heard the whistle, and I don't see them, but I did hear the whistle. Oh, there's the vandal. There's the vandal. Let's get rid of you. Don't want you walking all the way through my park to be getting... Go away. Bye-bye. Don't like vandals in here, please. Right, so let's go back. We've got the wipeout, our little power coaster, the jumper. little food court, and if we keep going up this path here, we've got lots of beautiful foliage that were already here when we started. Oh look, we've got a swinging ship. Actually, let's stop the research, guys, so we can add a swinging ship now. We've got space to do that. That would be quite a nice thing to add. And here, look, we've got this beautiful Japanese style bridge that came with the scenario itself, and then up here you've got a little walkway up into the trees. So this is kind of part of the garden. Oh, this is where that vandal's been, look, that the security guard just caught. So we've got a little trellis at the top and a little seating area. So if you're in this little seating area, if we rotate around, you can see you've got a view out over the bridge onto the water. So that's quite a nice little vantage point to come and sit. So you can sit up here, and then if you come back down after you've had a little rest up there, you could even grab some food and then sit up there to sit and eat it. And then just over here we've got the orbiter. Again, for the people who like a bit of a thrill, let's watch that start up, shall we? Because once that gets going, it's quite a dramatic little ride. Look at that. Whee! Off you go, boys! And that is where we've got the sign to stop the people going any further up. And here we've got this little pagoda thing right on the water, look, so it can see both of the rides and the pretty little island and just enjoy the water and the view. And we've got some seating inside that and some seating just outside of that, so you can sit in the shade or out in the sun. And then there's this big long beautiful bridge across past all the beautiful trees and rocks and everything back to the other side of the jumper, and that is my park for Sakura Gardens. So let's just take another little look at the overview for you. Oop, don't wriggle your trackball quite that far, it's going to send you off the screen. Bye! So I'm quite proud of that. I think it looks really pretty. I quite like this scenario as a potential place to build a real amusement arcade for your own fun. You know, if you want to redo some of these scenarios with just having a bit of fun of building a park of your own without having to sort the goals that the game gives you. I think this one's quite a beautiful scenario. It's relatively flat, it's got a bit of terrain, it's got some beautiful starting scenarios, got a lovely big lake, so you've got that contrast between the water rides and the normal rides. So I think this could be quite a good one to plan one of your own parks around. I think that might be a good one to do something like that with. So that is my park for Sakura Gardens. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. From SoftKitty99, goodbye and happy gaming!